Welcome everyone to the ESL 1 New York European Qualifier. We're going to be getting ourselves into Virtus Pro versus Team Secret. As we already have the draft underway, we have Virtus Pro. Now, so right now, Team Secret, I've been looking over the last few days of them, and they have just been having a fantastic performance, man. So far, this team has pretty much only lost one match, and that was their debut up against Team Alliance. Now, they've beaten a lot of Tier 2 and Tier 3 teams so far, and that really shouldn't come as too big of a surprise. So they haven't really been put to the test when it comes to Tier 1 teams just yet, as they've really only faced Alliance, a couple of the others, but they haven't faced many of the other top-tier teams, such as Tinker, etc. So while Team Secret certainly is having a very good run so far, a team like Virtus Pro, especially a team that has been known to run some interesting stuff and actually pull out some wins against arguably stronger teams, this should be a pretty interesting matchup. This whole entire game right here is going to come down to, I would say, very much the early roaming phase. Because if you actually look at it, both Virtus Pro as well as Team Secret have a very, very high-impact support roamer on their side. Puppy has been demonstrating some amazing plays with his support Marana. He has just really, with this new rendition of his team, it seems like he has really pulled out all the stops, man. Like, this guy has been destroying with his roaming Marana. In fact, they're going to pick it up again right here. Virtus Pro should know all about the roaming Marana, though, because they have been picking up the Marana for themselves. Jotum, who is both the drafter as well as the Marana, so we have a similarity there. Both Puppy and Jotum, both being the drafters and the roaming Marana pickups. They should know all about the roaming Marana, though, and should be prepared for it. But they're going to go for something Virtus Pro have been running pretty consistently since their creation of their new team, which is going to be the Tinker. So they grant themselves the Death Prophet Earthshaker, now the Tinker. Earthshaker, of course, being one of the better long-range supports right now and has actually gotten a lot of priority. I also love the bans here from Virtus Pro. Most specifically, they banned away Big Daddy's Wisp in the first banning phase, while Team Secret took away some of the heroes that are most popular to Virtus Pro. For example, God has been running the Brewmaster mid a lot lately, and same goes with the support Skywrath Mage, another strong roaming hero that Jotum does favor quite a bit. Now our second banning phase took away the Naga Siren as well as the Clockwork. Naga Siren has been a current flavor of the week when it comes to supports. And, of course, the Clockwork being such a good initiator versus the Tinker, it would make a lot of sense for them to ban that one away. While the Jakiro and Centaur Warrunner were banned out by Team Secret, taking away some of those strong pushers as well as that offlane initiator, which is really good disengage. Right now, the Centaur has a lot of priority when it comes to offlaners, and that's because his ultimate is so versatile, but also the fact that the disengage possibilities are so potent, especially against certain heroes such as the Doom, who give you these sort of game-winning ultimates, but at the same time, they have longer cooldowns, and you can't just run yourself away from them if you're in some serious trouble. So we have the Marana Doom and the Nyx Assassin going to be picked up by Team Secret. Bane was grabbed as their fourth pickup here from Virtus Pro, so they have a nice little holding hero. Not really the support I was quite expecting, though. And while the disables are going to be nice, I'm kind of wondering where they're going with this Bane. As, I don't know, the Nyx Assassin as well has been a hero that has been favored a lot lately. As another support that has seemed to come back into the pool, it seems like we're trying to really tank up on many of our heroes, seeing as we're dealing with a lot of like Death Prophets and Faces Voids and these sort of heroes that really abuse very squishy supports and are able to take them out of the fight nice and early. We seem to have this trend where we're trying to tank up on our draft quite a bit lately. And Nyx Assassin certainly is one of the best heroes up against the Tinker with that solid mana burn. He's got the Spike Carapace as well, so if he does pick up a Blink Dagger, he can blink himself into the March of the Machines with that Spike Carapace on, get that long duration stun onto the Tinker, followed up with an Impale, mana burn, and maybe even a Vendetta hit. And that Tinker is going to be in some serious trouble. So Nyx Assassin definitely seeing a lot more popularity, both when it comes to tankier supports as well as just a good counter to the Tinker. But the Troll Warlord is going to be grabbed now by Team Secret. And that's a hero that has been discussed quite a bit lately. But we're not entirely sure whether or not this hero is how viable he truly is. Of course, we saw him being run quite frequently back in the TI4 qualifier. We had Mouse Sports running it over and over again. With Feta being the mid-troll warlord who was picking up a mech. We don't see any obvious abuses here with the troll. There are some pretty cheesy combinations with the troll warlord ultimate, but we don't really have anything special just yet. As Virtus.pro choose to ban away the Furion, so they're feeling like this is going to be a one-position Doom and a troll mid with an off-lane still to be determined. And of course, Virtus.pro still need an off-laner of their own. That's why the Tidehunter is going to be banned away by Team Secret. Taking one of those big AoE controllers, one of the best off-laners to be run with Death Prophet. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised that Virtus.pro didn't grab that hero as their fourth pickup instead of the Bane, which I feel like didn't have any danger of being banned away. But we have so many offlaners being banned away. The Clockwork, Furion, Centaur, Tidehunter. We're not left with many options when it comes to offlanes. But surprisingly enough, I didn't even notice this. The Faceless Void is still in the pool, and it's going to be the fifth pickup here for Virtus.pro. So maybe that's why they chose to pick up the Bane, because they're like, hey, with the way this draft is going, we can get ourselves the Faceless Void or the Tidehunter. Of course, I would personally prefer the Tidehunter right now because I believe that the Faceless Void leaves you a little bit exposed. It's a bit of a greedy pickup when you already have a Tinker as well as a Death Prophet. There's a lot of heroes here who need a large amount of farm. Earthshaker being one of the greedier supports, Faceless Void, Tinker, as well as Death Prophet. All go into the late game beautifully, but all need a significant amount of farm. And Big Daddy is instantly picking up the Bounty Hunter, which is going to be our last pickup here. So we could be seeing a core Nyx Assassin run in the mid lane. Fly's going to be taking that off-lane Doom, which he has been favoring quite a lot here for Team Secret in their last few matches, and that just leaves our last pickup for the Troll Warlord. So, looking at this, if we have the Nyx Assassin mid, it's more than likely we're going to be seeing the Tinker still mid. Death Prophet's going to be run in the one position, and then an off-lane Void. So the Nyx Assassin is definitely very strong versus the Tinker. Should be able to lay down some early harassment on him. Expect to see one of the really good things about the Nyx Assassin mid here is that he is also going to be able to enable you to set up arrows for the Mirana roaming in. So if the Mirana is in a position to go ahead and try and gank up the middle lane, which we're expecting Puppy to do a lot of roaming. He's been doing that quite a bit lately and has been showing a lot of success with it lately. If he is sitting in that mid lane, anywhere near that mid lane, Nyx Assassin can actually set up the stun by just going for a straight out impale and turning that into a bit more. So just a free arrow combination off of that one. Just fix my overlays real quick. For whatever reason, my overlays just decided to break themselves early on. And we're actually going to be left. Fly is going to be going for a safe lane Doom right now. And we're going to be running an aggro try of sorts. Now, Big Daddy's going to be roaming around. In fact, you expect both of these heroes to be roaming around quite heavily. Both Mirana as well as the Bounty Hunter. One having the boots, and expect to maybe see an early Orb of Venom picked up by him as well, while the Mirana, of course, just needs to have a couple of clarities to throw out those arrows. On the side of Virtus.pro, we're going to be seeing a defensive tri-lane. The Earthshaker will stay here in the bottom lane for one Fissure block, but should be rotating up to the top lane after that. Just the one Fissure block ensures that Cedo is able to safely pick up his level 2. And that means that he'll be able to have a much better time. As you can see, Johnham right now is looking to try and leave one creep out, or not. Actually, he's just going to block them all out. And, well, an invis for Big Daddy's Bounty Hunter. So this really shouldn't come as much of a surprise here for God, as he already saw that one with the bottom ward. As they placed themselves, they actually went ahead and went in and placed this one really early, just to make sure that they do see this kind of upcoming rune control, that it's going to be such an important part of this mid lane, I feel. The Nyx Assassin is certainly a hero that can snowball quite heavily if given the right runes early on. And between the two roamers that you have, both the Bounty Hunter as well as this Mirana, they should be able to get a good amount of rune control. Virtus Pro, meanwhile, are going to be a bit more stationary in lane, trying to just focus on being able to win their defensive tri-lane. Or defensive dual lane, rather. BZZ's pretty far out here right now, and he's going to be already harassed a bit by Big Daddy, but Puppey is waiting here for a very long time. Throws a long-range arrow, not going to find the support, though. And now they do reveal their other two supports here in this lane. Right as Jotham's going to be coming into lane as well. Bit late to the party, but that happens when you block out that off lane. The bottom matchup is actually a pretty decent matchup here for Seedoy, who already has the poor man's shield. Sleep going on to Big Daddy here. They do have a nice little Fisher block that's going to go out, as well as the counter ward revealing Big Daddy. Well, the arrow does hit Yol, and ensures that Big Daddy will be able to get out, especially with his boots. And this also is going to be blocking out the pull. Tinker, meanwhile, is left with primarily trying to right-click his way into all this early farm, as the constant harassment of S4 with that level 1 mana burn is beginning to put him to the test. You could see he's holding off on some of his other abilities, determining whether or not he wants to try and go for a second level and to go for 2 quick levels into the Impale in an attempt to go for the kill, or if he needs the defensive Spike Carapace, or maybe even considers the more harassive mana burn, actually leveling it up early on. These two supports need to be careful, though, as they're actually going to try and slow down Yol. Arrow comes right by, but the sleep on Takuro will ensure nothing big is going to happen here. Jotham, unfortunately, doesn't have quite enough mana to go for a Fisher block. As Kuro just turns around, gets one quick hit onto BZZ that happens to turn a full-on bash to the face. But yeah, this bottom matchup is not too bad for Seedoy. Obviously, once the Doom is picked up for the Doombringer, this is going to be a lot more difficult, and that's going to be the natural counter to the Faceless Void. But in general, the pre-level 6 laning phase is actually quite good. Double damage was picked up by God, and that's going to help him out quite a bit, as obvious this laser. Can't really rely on it too much for a CS anyway. Big Daddy tried to snipe out the courier there, wasn't able to get it. And S4 even jumping in pretty deep to see if he could follow it up. Puppey is, Jotham knows exactly what's up. Jotham is actually kind of keeping pace with Puppey here. He's going to reveal him and just says, hey, I know you're here. You're not going to pick off God like this. You're not going to be getting one of those early hours that you've been demonstrating quite the propensity with lately. And Puppey will rotate back to the top lane. 3.5 minutes in, not seeing a first blood yet is so crazy, just because this early roaming usually leads to a number of early kills like this. Arrow's going to come out from the side, snags BZZ, and Kuro is now going to get in close range. Already getting that melee form, but bash on top of that. BZZ is going to be slowed down a little bit more. Kuro trying to keep in pace, but Yol is going to be here just in time to save BZZ, and the health potion will be able to bring him back up to full.
Invisibility.
An invisible Earthshaker is going to be rotating into the middle lane. Unlikely they'll find any opportunity to get a kill here, just because God, well, he just simply doesn't have the nuke damage anymore to go for these kills. BZZ, Big Daddy's actually trying to get ahead of him right now with the boots, but isn't going to be able to. And unfortunately, if only maybe he had level 2 and had that extra slow from Janata to help in, or at least to Orb of Venom, they could maybe slow him down enough. BZZ once again dodging another arrow. Big Daddy trying to focus on harassing him as much as possible with the Orb of Venom, but a quick first blood goes out. The Brain Zap plus the Crypt Swarm combination overwhelms the low health Bounty Hunter. And that was quite the close one, about a huge amount of burst damage. Lays into Big Daddy, completely unexpecting that. And there you have it. Already the aggro try here from Team Secret, if you can really call it that. I mean, the supports are really getting nothing from this lane whatsoever. They are really just providing some pressure here and there, but they're not actually taking any of the experience. You can see Kuro is already level 5.5. Mid lane, they're going to go for God. Already slowing him down. The stun will be able to land. They also have the Mana Bird to add in on top of that one. God's going to throw out the laser and will walk himself away. S4 running out of mana, as he chose to actually use Spike Carapace rather than go for the Mana Burn. It's a bit surprising for me. Seedoy will be chased down to the bottom lane, but it looks like with that teleport, that's going to be enough to protect Seedoy. And he won't tick out from this Doom by itself. And Sidoi can actually stay in lane with the 2 extra tankos he's got. They find Jotum. Jotum doesn't get hit by the arrow here. He's still going to be slowed down quite heavily by the Janata plus the Orb of Venom. Oh, Puppey tries to leap in, actually gets hit by that Fissure. And they won't be able to go for the dive. It's just not enough damage, or maybe they will. Kuro. Oh, that is so dangerous, and he decides it's not worth it. They're going to back themselves up. I don't think there actually would have been any teleports from the side of Team Secret if they chose to dive that, but it's not really worth the risk this early on into the game. 6.5 minutes in. Virtus Pro still holding on to that 1 kill that they got early on Big Daddy's Bounty Hunter. But the rest of the time, they are just sitting back and waiting. Arcane Boots picked up by S4. So he's got a lot more spam to add to the table. And God. Arrow sneaks right past, but a little did he know there was actually a bit of bottle crowing happening for God. They do need to stack up a little bit for him. You could already see Sidoi has, or at least I think it was the Bane when he rotated to the bottom lane, has stacked up the Ancient Camp once. We do have the Earthshaker, who was also attempting to stack as well, but it's just a medium camp for now. Nothing too major. And another arrow. I mean, man, I felt like I was really praising. Oh, jump in. Chronosphere is going to catch S4. They're going to follow it up with the March of the Machines, and that will be enough burst damage to bring him down. And so a secondary kill now going the way. Top lane, diving in up against BZZ, goes into range form, trying to get those last couple of hits. Big Daddy will come in eventually, but the Crypt Swarm takes him out. Well played there from BZZ, as he decides he wasn't going to get out of range in time and instead just turns around and kills the Bounty Hunter in exchange for giving up his life to Kuro. Yo, he can actually get in range here. He's going to be perfect for a brain sap. Not enough to finish him off, though. The sleep follow-up does get that one, and the sleep will be able to finish him off. And Puppey unable to get there in time. So that actually works out really well for Virtus Pro, because while the Troll did get all that its solo experience for the Death Prophet kill, that results in Yol actually almost picking up his full level 6 off of that solo Troll Warlord. And obviously the Bane, once he hits that level 6, just becomes an entirely different hero. Has a lot more presence around the map, and his rotations, especially you could see an early rotation to this bottom lane, and a Fiend's Grip will ensure that Sidoi should be able to pick up the kill. S4 popping the Vendetta is going to grab himself an Invis rune as well, and actually pops that one, realizing that his Vendetta is just not going to get him where he needs to go fast enough. So instead, he's going to use the extra duration of the Invis to try and wrap around, it looks like, behind God. And again, if they can just lead this into an Impale followed up by an arrow, there it is, God. Leap in, arrow lands, Jotum. Good interception there with the Fissure, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The extra attack speed is going to be enough to ensure the death of the Tinker, but they still get a return kill from Jotum, right-clicking down the Mirana, and the Marching Machines will actually be claiming that last hit. And it looks like our Troll Warlord was able to just teleport away. So well played there by Team Secret, getting a pretty crucial kill, shutting down the Tinker. That should be their #1 priority right now, as he's not going to be getting an early Boots of Travel due to the fact that his lane was just a bit too rough. And he doesn't really have any stacks due to the supports being otherwise occupied. Sidoi, though, is getting a lot of farm here in this bottom lane. He already has Treads, Poor Man's Shield, plus the Wraith Band. He's not the greatest farm in the world, but considering he was an off lane and hasn't died yet to the Doom, and of course I think I spoke too soon. He's going to be doomed up, and with Big Daddy already sitting here, this should be a kill, but maybe not. Jotum actually comes in, hits the Fissure, and gets enough distance that Sidoi will be good. Big Daddy's going to be found, Fiend's gripped up, and it actually turns into a kill for Virtus Pro, as the rotations here from Virtus Pro are just so on the mark. They are always quick to respond, and Jotum especially has been getting in some amazing fissures that have really put a stop to a lot of the aggression here from Team Secret. As that's twice now that a Doom has completely failed, and Sidoi gets himself a regen rune in the bottom rune. So that makes it all the better. And they may try and gank up the mid lane, it almost looks like. And meanwhile, I'm just amazed that nobody has really been hit by any of these roaming arrows. Puppey's going to throw out another one. Long range, snags BZZ. Ah, right as I say these things, man. I am just jinxing everybody on this game. BZZ is going to go down as Secret finally make a rotation that turns out favorable for them. Meanwhile, we have, yep, there it is, 3-stack for the Ancient Camp. And that, I think you'll see Jotum maybe back up and do that because I think this is enough gold to get him to his Boots of Travel. And he does not want to be dying here when he's so close to that critical farming item.
Radiant's bottom
Meanwhile,
tower is
Kuro.
under attack.
So we haven't seen that many
Dire's
Troll
top tower
Warlords.
is under
He's
attack.
been seeing peaks of popularity here and there from week to week. But in general, we don't get to see the same amount of Troll Warlord picks as we do many of the current heroes of the meta. So I'm always interested to see when I have a player that I don't usually see pick up a Troll, what kind of build he chooses to go for in this specific game. It's certainly going to need a lot of aggression as we're dealing with a lot of late game on the side of Virtus Pro, and that's why it's so concerning that Virtus Pro are winning this early laning phase right now. Of course, they're not winning it too heavily. In fact, I bet if you look at the gold graph and the experience graph, it's going to be rather even. Even though Virtus Pro are ahead in kills, they still have to deal with the Doom, with the Midas, and that means you have a super farm Doom now. They're going to go for the third Doom now on Seedoy. And he's pretty far forward this time around with the Vendetta added in. All right, Seedoy. I know I've called you dead before, but this time I think it might actually be true. Maybe Jotum can go for the deny here. Already the Fisher goes out and choosing to right-click him. Oh, Enchant Totem. No, the Mana Burn puts a stop to that one. S4 actually claims the last hit while the push comes in at the top lane. BZZ managed to claim that tier 1 tower. Arrow sneaks right past the Bane. As that was very well played. Jotum had the right idea, right? He went ahead, went for an Enchant Totem, and tried to, was going to go for the last hit through that. God does have his Boots of Travel, and another 900 gold thanks to that tier 1 tower going down in the top lane, plus the extra bit of Ancient farm he has. Fly should be expected to be going for a Blink Dagger, I would say, just because, well, you've got plenty of incentive for it, that's for sure. Death Prophet, Tinker, Faceless Void, all heroes that if you can Blink initiate on them with that ultimate, you give yourself a significant advantage in the team fight. Jotum takes some much-needed farming time here in the bottom lane while he has picked up a lot of gold thanks to a couple of successful rotations, but also being a part of that Ancient stack has boosted his experience. If he can pick up that decently important level 6. I mean, obviously it's not that big of a deal until you have a Blink Dagger, but the extra bit of burst damage should be able to help him out.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And now I'm just looking and going, okay, the Tinker's getting big. How is this Nyx Assassin going to be shutting him down? Well, it's already picked up a Blink Dagger, and I would say S4, he's got to put full attention in shutting down this Tinker now. I mean, he's got the Blink Dagger, he's got the Spike Carapace. You've kind of got everything you need to be able to initiate onto a Tinker. You would love to be able to have that extra level of Vendetta for the extra burst damage, but that may not be enough. BZZ is going to be working towards his Yule's Scepter. As you can see, the Blink Dagger finished up on Tinker in just a few minutes here. Blink Dagger was also picked up by the Doom. We have a Mask of Madness going to be coming the way of Seedoy in a short amount of time. As long as he doesn't get picked off by S4. Was looking for another one of those critical rotations in. Yo, almost looked like he wanted to lay down a Fiend's Grip or a Nightmare there on the Big Daddy Bounty Hunter. Sees him for a second, has that counter ward out. Big Daddy, of course, does have the backup of the Nyx Assassin, so. Also look for the opportunity for Virtus Pro to sneak in a Roshan. They do have the Death Prophets, a lot of extra physical damage. And as well as the Faceless Void, as soon as he has a Mask of Madness, is a decent amount as well. Notice that Seedoy isn't actually going for any levels of backtrack, and that's, I would say, primarily because he's facing up against a Doom. And so the extra backtrack doesn't obviously do that much when he's constantly being ulted like that. BZZ is going to be caught, hit by the impale. Follow-up arrow will be able to grab BZZ, and the troll ultimate going off will ensure enough right clicks to bring him down just barely. And that was also a track kill as well. So the 5-man rotation from Team Secret is successful in getting him pick off on the Death Prophet. And now we'll try and turn this into a tower here. God, pretty far forward here. March of the Machines goes out, but he's kind of screwed as the Spike Carapace will hit him, stun him up, and with the impale called up, Big Daddy could be taken out. Oh, what a beautiful Chronosphere. Locking in Simba into that March of the Machines, and now the Fisher goes off as well, separating the rest of the heroes. And S4 managed to blink himself away. He may still get himself out. Jotum is looking for a Fisher. That's not going to be up for another 6 seconds. Yol, with his extra bit of movement speed, is looking to catch him out with the Nightmare, but it looks like S4. Oh, Jesus. Another quick blink away just before the Fisher is able to land. All in all, though, a decent exchange from Virtus.pro. It sucks that they lost the Tinker there, and that is by far the most important hero for Team Secret to kill, but at the same time, they got Seedoy some kill gold off of beating down the Doom and also being able to kill the bounty hitter on the side. I believe that was a Death Prophet kill. S4 sneaks into the side, and with his level 2 Vendetta is going to be going into the enemy jungle now that it's upgraded to that 35-second duration. He's got a lot more leeway to move around. He's actually going to go for this one. Seedoy has been stunned up. He just stops the teleport. Now Big Daddy's going to come in with a couple of extra right clicks, but they won't be able to get the kill. But at the same time, they do successfully, I suppose, stop Seedoy's farm a little bit. So that is a Vendetta down, and on top of that, they also got the middle tier 1 tower. At the same time, Doom was able to get a pick off on the Tinker here in the bottom lane as he gets the blink and successful Doom onto Tinker. So 7-9, almost 20 minutes into this match. Virtus.pro are growing a bit more of a gold lead. Experience, though, has gone up into the favor of Team Secret in the last few minutes. And Big Daddy just continually forcing Seedoy back, making sure he doesn't have the time to farm up the jungle, knowing that he may get picked off. And this is interesting, a full-up ring of a kill here for the Faceless Void. Extra mana regen, always helpful for a Void, though, just because he does have some significant mana issues. And when you've got this constant track on you, it just leaves you so exposed to the sneaky, the Nyx Assassin as well as the Doom with those double blink daggers. But this is what I was talking about earlier. When you've got a Death Prophet on the Dire side, Roshan is a must. And this is a trait you'll see time and time again, is that when on the Dire side, you see the enemy team wants to push in your top lane, go ahead and give it to them. Tier 1 tower in exchange for a very early Roshan like this, I say it's well worth it for the side of Virtus.pro, as they're going to give it to the Death Prophet here. So early Aegis. They should be able to defend this tier 2 quite easily. As you can see, God is already in position to put a stop to it with his March of the Machine spam. And Fly looks like he's going to be going for a really early refresher here, which is not really what I expected from him. At least not this early into the game.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
He is going to have some significant mana issues. Or maybe not.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
With that
Dire's
Ogre Club
top tower
pickup.
is under attack.
Okay, looks like did he sell it? Yeah, it looks like he sold it.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I'm not sure
has
BKB
fallen.
is really a necessity for him in this game, but either way, they do need, like, the team as a whole needs to start get something going here on the side of Team Secret, because Virtus.pro just took themselves another tower. Looks like they're going to go for God. Track is already up on him. God puts himself in the corner here. Arrow's going to be able to land. They quickly get the kill, but what return kills are going to go down? Yol sees Big Daddy actually gets the Fiend's Grip up on him, and Jotum will ensure the extra kill. On the left side, though, we have the Chronosphere onto Kuro, which is going to be able to ensure a secondary kill. So in exchange for the Tinker, they pick up at least 1 core and 1 support. Another situation where, yes, it sucks to lose the Tinker, but they just get their Faceless Void even more farm. S4. Quick to blink himself away. Doom actually put onto Yol here as he tries to finish on Puppey, but ends up losing his mega kill streak instead. To Puppey, who already got himself an Urn of Shadows and now has another 1,300 gold thanks to all that spree gold. BZZ running in pretty fast here with this Dust, trying to catch up the Puppy and give him the Yule Scepter into a Crypt Swarm. Isn't going to find that opening, but maybe he can get the Doom instead. Seedoy, Yule Scepter out, follow-up Crypt Swarm, and an instant bash going on to fly. I think he was kind of screwed anyway, but the instant bash for Seedoy makes it all the easier for him. And now Virtus Pro taking control of the enemy jungle. And this is the worst thing in the world you want to see on the Radiant side, if you're a Team Secret fan, is when the Tinker is able to just farm up the enemy jungle like this. And they can turn it into just controlling much of the map. Now, Jotham's going to be in some serious trouble. S4 catches him out with the Impale, and another track kill going the way of Team Secret. They've been doing a pretty good job on the side of Virtus Pro, making sure not to split up too much, but we just had 2 quick pickoffs. The Doom on Yol here, up here, and then that pickoff on the Earthshaker, which normally is okay if you have certain objectives in mind that you're trying to do, such as that situation. He was trying to get down a ward, which is not a bad idea by any means, but when you're up against a bounty hunter, that track gold just being such a key component of Team Secret's farm and how they're going to be transitioning into the mid game, that you need to make sure you don't feed away too many of those. Of course, the other step is going to be protecting these tier 1 towers. Now, this one is going to go down in here in the middle lane, and it is low, and S4 not going to try and blink in and get that last hit. So the deny, an important addition to Virtus Pro, and so far they're very successful rotations around the map. Mid lane, they try and go on S4. Nothing they can really find though. And what is Seedoy up to? So he's going to be going for a quick Aghanim Scepter. So he's not going to be trying to make that transition to a carry role. He's going to be primarily focused on his utility. Can't blame him at all for that one. Gem on BZZ is going to be able to reveal Big Daddy. And the Yule Scepter coming up in just a second. He's going to throw out another Crypt Swarm. Or maybe not. Crypt Swarm now into a straight-up Echo Slam from Jotham. All right. Not messing around with no Bounty Hunter, man. Jotham wants that last hit and gets him that much closer to his Blink Dagger, which can make a pretty damn big difference in these team fights. God is getting pretty close to his Dagon, as it might actually be this creep wave that gets it to him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And then in that situation, watch out. Marana, Bounty Hunter, like these two have, they've done a good job keeping up their levels, despite the fact that they were like both level 2 by like 6.5 minutes in. So they've done a good job keeping up their levels from there. But arrow goes out, not quite finding God, but S4 will still be able to jump in thanks to that extra bit of vision. Her spike will still land, but S4 is going to be force staffed down the cliff by Puppy. Actually, no, that's a force staff of his own. Yule Scepter, Crypt Swarm goes out. Puppy already low enough. He's going to die to the rocket. S4, meanwhile, will get out with his haste rune. They see him for a second there, but BZZ won't be able to catch up, as he just blinks himself away. Seedoy is being scattered out by Big Daddy right now, but there's no rotations from Team Secret that can put a stop to this one. And it seems like Team Secret are really focusing on just sitting back and farming, which I don't feel too confident about. Honestly, I feel Virtus Pro have secured themselves some pretty solid late game between the Tinker, Void, and the Death Prophet. All of those are really great late game heroes. And I don't think a Doom, even with a Doom with a Refresher and maybe even goes in Aghanims or something like that, unless he's always able to find those perfect rotations, those perfect initiations onto Virtus Pro, I don't see that being enough. BZZ copping another arrow, but the tier 2 tower is already going to be in some danger, as the rotations from Team Secret are just unlikely to come.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mass March the Machines. They start moving forward now. Moonlight Shadow going out. Of course, BZZ, well, he no longer has that gem, actually. He passed it off. And it looks like to Yol, who's already slept up. The Puppy was coming in from the side. They're going to try and focus on BZZ, but Nyx Assassin already has been taken out. And the Chronosphere, right as Doom activates his BKB, Big Daddy is going to be the first victim. And now Simba Fly is going to be up next. He just gets right-clicked down by Seedoy. Quick little double kill may turn into a triple now. That Kuro is going to be silenced up, and that Nightmare is not going to protect him anymore. And just gets bursted down by God as he comes back in with his fresh Dagon. So Virtus Pro wiping 4 and losing nothing there. In the process, excellent team fight for them. And will now push uphill, despite the fact they don't have Exorcism. When you win a team fight like that so handedly, it doesn't really matter, man. They just can go straight uphill and slap down the tower. Yol able to catch Big Daddy here. Looks like they're going to go for the dive. The Force Staff, not going to be enough. S4 tried to save his ally, but in the end, the burst damage results in too much. And with the tier 3 already going down, Puppey getting low, but Spike Carapace will actually stun God up for just the second required. Silence, BZZ misses that one. They still get the stun and enough burst damage. Not quite enough. Leap will be able to disjoint that bit of rocket damage that was coming his way. Jump in, stun. They're going to go on Seedoy here. Fly. No longer having his Doom. Echo Slam onto 2. They're going to try and pop. S4 gets off the Spike Carapace, which is going to make a big difference as 2 heroes fall in the process of trying to kill him. And they do eventually get him thanks to the Tinker, but it's still going to be a dangerous fight here as BZZ getting low, gets off that extra bit of heal, and will be able to turn this fight around a little bit thanks to God. Popping another hero. The poor Murata goes down, and that's going to be the range racks as well as the melee falling in this bottom lane. 26.5 minutes in. Virtus Pro starting off this game 1 with a very, very dominating performance. They have really left themselves very little openings. They played very defensive, were paying great attention to the Mirana. I mean, the Mirana, roaming Mirana really did very little for them in the first 20 minutes of this game. Puppey tried. He threw so many arrows around, but it seems like just none of them landed. I recall at least one that ensured a pick off on the Death Prophet. But some of the others, even the ones that landed, didn't even get them a kill necessarily. Tinker's going to be finishing off an Ethereal Blade before he upgrades his Dagon anymore. He's already has the Ghost Scepter and another 2,000 gold. So if they get, say, the middle tier 2 as well as that top tier 2, that'll probably be enough gold for the finished Ethereal Blade. And then that means if they don't doom up the Tinker, they're going to have a really hard time being kited around by that Ethereal Blade. With some of their heroes that are, like, a lot of them are, you know, physical damage dealers. The Troll, the Doom, after he throws out his ultimate, a lot of his damage is going to be coming from those right clicks. Bounty Hunter, Mirana as well, eventually turns into a bit more of a right-clicking oriented hero. Arrow hits BZZ once again. I mean, if anybody has been the Arrow Magnet, he really hasn't caught that many this game. But if anybody's the Arrow Magnet for this game, it's got to be him. They're going to commit the full Exorcism. Meanwhile, Team Secret are going to try and take this tier 2 in the top lane. As I don't think they can be taking a team fight right now. So just looking for map control and maybe a little bit of extra tower gold as well is the best situation for them. And Aegis is actually going to be given to God here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Good arrow onto Yol, trying to get himself out. Seedoy holding on to the Chronosphere for now. Is going to be doomed up. Jotum already getting off the stun onto Fly, but he's already doomed up Seedoy, and Jotum is getting low enough that he's going to be forced back as well with no Exorcism. This is a fight that Virtus Pro shouldn't really be able to take. Kuro just keeps on moving. Now going to go for Yol next, but the Yol Scepter delays him. Arrow lands on BZZ. Now he is one of the tankier heroes. Not quite so sure they can really take this one. God has already lost his Aegis. Fiend's Grip onto Kuro, but it's not going to be enough damage. And the rest, Virtus Pro backing themselves up and staying alive. BZZ still playing very far forward here. Another arrow! BZZ, man! He just cannot be stopped getting hit by these ones. The Fissure and the Nightmare are going to be protecting him quite extensively there. And BZZ will still be able to back himself up. Yul Scepter onto the Nyx Assassin. But he's going to force staff himself up the cliff, and they got to get back to base just because the bottom push is now beginning to do quite a bit of damage to their base. 30 minutes in, 13-21. Virtus Pro holding on to about a 7,500 gold lead and a 6,000 experience lead, and are sitting quite comfortably with that bottoms lane already being raxed. They've also got a significant peaking point that's going to be happening here soon with Tinker finishing up his Ethereal Blade and beginning to get some of those levels in Dagon. So leveling up the Dagon doesn't just mean an extra 100 burst damage, but it means an extra 150, well 140 technically, because of the Ethereal Blade form. And then you add in maybe the extra bit of intelligence, stats, and those sort of things. And when you're throwing down multiple Dagon shots per team fight, that actually does add up to be a significant number. Seedoy, they're going to go for him. Doomed up already, as well as the track being laid down on him. Now, he does have the rest of his team that's going to be coming in. BZZ does have an Exorcism, and he's going to let loose. Seedoy still being chased down. Looks like Fly will be able to take him out. This time, BZZ doesn't get hit by the arrow, but he's going to be chasing down Fly with that Exorcism. Fiend's Grip onto Fly. They need to put a stop to that one. Echo Slam holds S4 for a while, but they already stopped the Fiend's Grip. 4 staff forward, not going to be enough. Now, Kuro turns onto Yol, looking to pop that squishy support. The Nightmare will protect him for the time being. Meanwhile, this Exorcism is just constantly tearing him a new one. Moonlight Shadow goes out, but they still see him, thanks to the gem on Yol. And while he does get hit by yet another arrow, this time it is not going to make a difference at all. As Virtus Pro, they may have lost their Faceless Void, but it's not going to make much difference. As 3 heroes go down on the side of Team Secret. At least what they're doing, though, by continually being so aggressive like this, they're constantly forcing Virtus Pro to use some of these ultimates defensively. Like, they keep on picking up the Faceless Void, they keep on initiating on him, which is great, and then they force the Exorcism to be used defensively, so they don't necessarily have it. Even though they win the team fight, they can't immediately turn it into a fast tier 2 or even tier 3, just because the lack of physical damage on their side. But that may delay the push from Virtus Pro, but eventually it's still going to come in. As you can see, Death Prop's just right-clicking down the tower now. Has a full up Shivas as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That could play a pretty significant difference. It looks like they got a pick off on the Doom there, which is just perfect. Chronosphere into God coming in with the teleport back up to the top lane. They're going to go on BZZ, realizing there's 2 heroes in this bottom lane. They actually get a stun on Johnum on the right side. Meanwhile, they have the Doom on Death Prophet, who's already got himself out. It looks like Johnum is probably going to go down on this right side, but no other pickoffs, including a Doom that has been used here on BZZ. That will not result in a kill. S4 is actually going to be going in and going for Yol here. Gets Yol Scepter up. Follow-up Silence will be able to land. S4 not able to contribute anything else. Now here comes the Shivas as well as the Exorcism fighting up against 4, but God has already taken out the Bounty Hunter. Yol's going to be taken out by Kuro during his BKB timing. He immediately goes for God, gets that bash, and this is good. This is a great start for Team Secret as they now move to try and target down BZZ, unfortunately for Doom. Unable to get out of range of those ghosts, and now Puppey in some trouble. He has to leap himself away, and they just didn't have quite enough burst damage to take out BZZ. And they're going to lose additional hero. Puppey's going to be picked up by God as well, but that was still another situation where Team Secret have successfully made this game go just a little bit later. They got a pick off on God. He even bought back in order to just be there for the Death Prophet. And if they could have just possibly, obviously the buyback played a significant factor in that. But if they could have had enough damage to take down that Death Prophet, it would have been a huge win for Team Secret. And they could have actually maybe pushed in, maybe got a tier 2 somewhere. Oh, Jesus. S4 couldn't even get off the Spike Carapace in time because it was already on cooldown from using it against a rocket earlier.
Radiant's top
Pipe is now up for the Mirana. I like this pickup from Puppey. It's not normally what you think of when you see support Miranas. A lot of them either make the rotation into a semi-carry of sorts or try and go for like some mobility items. 4 staff is fairly common. But here, Puppey's determining, you know, if I just get some magic armor, I'm going to protect myself and the Tinker, but the Pipe, that extra aura will be able to help out, not aura, but active, and that anti-magic gel will be able to help out the rest of my crew as well. Moonlight Shadow goes out, the rest of Team Secret looking for that opening while the Tinker has gone back to base, but he's already here farther back, just waiting for his opening to pop one of these heroes. Tier 2's getting low. BZZ, he does not care how far forward he is. He's just so tanky between both the Shivas as well as the Heart. He's sitting right now at 3,000 health points with 27 armor. And almost going max movement speed when he activates his boots. Tinker is now up to a Dagon 2 due to the death and buyback that he had earlier on into the game. So he still has another 3 levels of Dagon, and he's still popping heroes. Just one-shotting heroes like that Nyx Assassin earlier. It's going to be made even worse once these extra levels of Dagon coming up. Big Daddy looks like they want to pick off on Seedoy here. The smoke rotation gonna end up failing. Sleep onto Big Daddy, and they're also going to be able to Fisher block him off, it looks like. The Force Staff gets him over to the other side. And the standoff continues. Virtus Pro farming up every side of the map with the Tinker while also being able to provide that extra bit of pushing power. Eventually, though, they may be just holding on until they can go back and do Roshan. This could be a pretty important win for them. And this game 1 up against Team Secret. They've been suffering the last few days, with only some recent wins up against NVMI. But other than that, they have been suffering against some of the teams that they didn't suffer against in those first couple of days, where they showed themselves to be a very adept pushing power. But ever since, people have kind of figured out how to draft against that and how to deal with that early Tinker plus BZZ Jakiro push squad that they run. They forced to run something a bit more standard nowadays. Seedoy's got 3,400 gold. He can actually go ahead and grab himself a BKB if he wants to in just a short amount of time. And he will actually be making that transition into a great right-click. Great right-click hero with the added damage of the Mask of Madness. But that's the thing. He doesn't really have to worry so much about outputting damage himself, and that's why he went for the Aghanims. Always being able to have that low cooldown and long duration holding ability. As he jumps in, fakes it out for a second there. Not going to go for it. Fly is making his way over. Still, this Oblivion Staff has not been made into a refresher. I think he's going to be going for it now that he has the Shivas, and he actually has a very large mana pool to be able to use a refresher and a double doom in one team fight. Where before he just really didn't have that power. 5,400 gold on the Death Prophet. He can go ahead and sell his drums here and pick up another potential tanking item if he wants. Do they actually have an Assault Cuirass? Because minus armor is always helpful for the Exorcism. It would be stacking armor pretty heavily, but he could try and go for an Assault Cuirass, seeing as I don't think anybody on his team is going to be building that anyway. Seedoy probably has a lot more other items that he's putting more priority into. Such as Daedalus and Butterfly. BKB as well. How's Kuro doing? He's got himself an SNY plus BKB and a Helma Dominator. Still not where you needed to be, and Seedoy's going to run right into Kuro. Goes ahead, Chronospheres him up. Now, this is a very tanky guy, but with BZZ coming in to add in some extra damage as well as the Shiva's slow, they will be able to get the kill. God actually claims the last hit with a quick little Dagon.
Oh, dear.
And he could go back and upgrade his Dagon one more time. Puppy has now been caught out from one pick into another. Puppy having no backup whatsoever from Team Secret. And those two pickoffs were what Virtus Pro were looking for, man. I mean, who needs to back up and do Roshan? Who needs to farm up those extra bit of items when you get two pretty important pickoffs like this one and maybe even a third? Doom is actually completely locked in this Fisher. He's waiting for the Blink Dagger, does get it up. Meanwhile, the Exorcism goes out, finishes off the Bounty Hunter. Simba is going to actually turn around, Doom up Seedoy, and he's going to try and lay as much damage into him as possible before he gets taken down. S4, meanwhile, is looking to pick off God. He's going to be trying to come in from behind. Spike Carapace goes off, stunning up God, extra mana burn, and then just Force Staffs himself away. He's just trying to distract Virtus Pro as much as possible, but that's all he can possibly do. Death Prophet is fully focused on objectives right now. BZZ is going to take down this mid set of racks, and they can probably just rotate up to the top lane. Another 45 seconds, Death on Doom with no buyback. Expecting Team Secret to call the GG, but we'll see whether or not they want to try and go for one last team fight, 4 versus 5. No Exorcism being up this time around. Could be a completely different fight. Kuro's going to start focusing on BZZ. Needs a lot of bashes, but the Ethereal Blade's going to be able to protect BZZ for the time being, and Seedoi is actually going to start focusing on Kuro. Jotum gets off the Echo Slam. Kuro taken out by that extra bit of burst damage. S4 right in the middle of everyone can't finish off the support Bane, as both the supports actually managed to get themselves up. Seedoi also backing himself away, and nobody on the side of Virtus Pro died. They actually hold on to a pretty much flawless disengage there from them. And no matter how much Team Secret pursue, they're not going to be able to catch up. Meanwhile, they're going to be losing their throne if they're not careful. And between the throne being so exposed, as well as just one lane of racks left over, Team Secret going to need some kind of miracle here to come back into this game. $25,000 gold lead. As you can see, the mass number of kills they've gotten in the last couple of minutes. Over 20,000 experience lead. Sleep on Kuro. Exorcism going to come out, 4 staff away. And everybody from the side of Team Secret will back themselves up to the fountain. But at the end of the day, all that matters is those objectives. So while Seedoi locks all of these heroes pretty much inside of their own fountain, and they're able to take on another one. Doom onto Gon. He's trying to chase him away. Fly backs him up, but still not able to finish off that one hero. Blinks in further, trying to chase him down. Meanwhile, the throne, though, is getting still low from BZZ, who's just focused on objectives. And Seedoi is going to do the same, and that is going to be at the Ghosts, as well as the right clicks coming out from the Faceless Void will be able to ensure Game 1 goes the way of Virtus Pro. So certainly not what many people expected in this matchup, as we actually had a poll here on Join Dota outlining this and what people thought it was going to be, and pretty much like 75% of people said Team Secret were going to win either 2-0 or 2-1. Well, Virtus Pro, they're already up in Game 1. We'll see what happens to Game 2 after just a short little break, guys, so stick around.